across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Now, Prince Harry, you all know, has had this long-running, rather pompous case, if you ask me. He wants armed police protection when he comes to Britain. Now, when he was a frontline royal living here, he was fully entitled to that, as is the King, as is the Queen, as are all frontline working royals. He, of course, is not a frontline working royal anymore because he lives in California. Now, he's failed in this case. I think now it has been rejected twice. The last time the judge said, look, really, give it up. You know, you're never going to win this case. But you know what he's like. It's like a dog with a bone. He will not let this go. So he's carrying on. And to discuss the latest development in this long-running legal saga, a warm welcome to Barrister, magician, man about town, Andrew Eborn.
It's always a delight on your show.
Let me ask you this, Andrew. Have you ever lost the case?
Funny you should mention that, you know. I have never lost the case.
But you don't like to talk about it.
But I very rarely, if ever, mention it. I let you do it. It's always a joy.
In every sentence. He's never lost a case.
You have to try them first.
Actually, Prince Harry should hire you.
Well, he should, because I can guarantee he would win.
I think even with your immense talent, you'd be on a sticky wicket here. Well, look, this is what he's going to do now.
Yes.
He's going to introduce into his case to demand or to justify that he should have an armed police escort. The fact that when Taylor Swift was here in the summer doing her concerts when she was in London, going to Wembley, she was given, controversially actually, a police escort, a big police escort, as if she was a visiting state leader or something like that. So apparently the Telegraph has run this story today saying that they understand that Harry will say, look, you gave this to Taylor Swift. I'm a member of the royal family. I would suggest this is utterly spurious because although it's arguable, very arguable, that a pop star does not warrant a police escort, they weren't armed police. So that's not relevant to this case.
Well, you say that, Kevin, and I very rarely disagree with you, but I'll tell you why on this particular occasion.
The expert.
Well, I'll tell you what happens. It's a judicial review, which is basically a review of the decision-making process of something called the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, who basically are in charge of protection for royals and other VIP dignitaries. What happened in 2020 when Harry was no longer a working royal? He lost that basic protection that they had. What he was saying is that it was wrong to do that because he still needed it, and it was basically looking for inconsistencies. So the first judicial review went ahead. He lost that case. What he's now doing is appealing, and he's got the right to appeal early next year. I think it's about April next year, which will go to the Court of Appeal to look again at the process. And this is what it does. It looks at the process for making that decision. Now, Taylor Swift examples, you must put it into context. She just Vienna, there was a big threat there of terrorism. She had to cancel concerts there. She was saying there was a perceived risk over here that if she didn't have the relevant protection and there was pressure from her management and so on and so forth, then she would basically may even pull out of doing the concerts here as well. So that's what he's going to turn on and say, is that there's an inconsistency. If you're doing this with Taylor Swift, you should do this with me.
Okay, so, but the opposing argument would be those cops who escorted Taylor Swift were not armed.
Yeah, and also what they're saying is not automatically that Harry doesn't get any protection. What happened in this instance, they turn around and say, is the perceived risk. So basically, for each time they're going to assess what is the perceived risk at this particular stage. So when Harry comes over, what they're saying is that we will determine the risk at that time, and we may well give you protection if there is a perceived risk.
Now, at the last stage of this long-running legal saga, the judge, when turning Harry and his legal team down, said, you know, he said, look, really, give this up. You have no chance of this ever succeeding. Was he right?
Well, it turns out that it's now the other judge, another judge, if you don't like that opinion, I'll give you another one. You work on that basis. You can always find. They said that there is a prospect. There's a case to be answered. And I always say about justice, it's got to be consistent. Justice is supposed to be blind. So you're turning around on this some places. Is it right?
Keir Starmer.
Well, I know. Well, Keir, with his freebies from Taylor Swift and all that sort of side, you've got that sort of thing. What has to happen? The optics on this are not good, because if you're turning around and saying it's all about these big expenses, and Harry actually sued a newspaper group when they talked about these cases about security, saying that he misled the public, he kept it as a secret and so on and so forth. Harry actually dropped that case. It turned out that he decided not to proceed with that one, but he still wants to carry on about security. He wants to come over here. He feels threatened. That's what he says.
That's what he says. Now, Pete, this is what I think. This is my theory. Actually, it's not that controversial. Most people think this. This is about a pompous little man who is obsessed with his own status. And what he's worried about, or what haunts him, is that his brother, William in particular, and his dad, and his stepmother, and his Auntie Anne, not Andrew anymore, but
not his uncle, yes.
Edward, all of these other frontline royals. His case is this: they get armed police protection, so I should too. I should be the same status as them. Mate, you quit the royal family. You are no longer the same status as them, and I think he should just do one. But that's what it's about. It's about he's not really, petrified for his own safety or the safety of his family. He can't be that stupid. When he came over, when his dad, or his last, I think it was the last trip he came over, his dad said, "Why don't you stay at St James's Palace?" Wasn't it? Nice and safe palace. And he said, "Oh no, I'm going to stay in a hotel."
B&B.
Which is obviously far less secure than a palace. He's not bothered. He's not worried about safety. No. He's worried about his own status.
Yeah, this is a man who wants to have his cake and to eat it, and that's to me exactly what this is. I think you're right that we should have this review, and he's got the right to appeal it.
Of course he has.
Because there is an interesting inconsistency there, and I think that's the key word. But I do think on the face of it, this just looks like a guy that just doesn't know when to quit. And it just looked to me like he's just trying to use these cases to keep in the public eye and to keep relevant. He's trying to get some kind of sympathy. And I have to admit, there is one element of this that we haven't talked about, and that is the freebie element. It seems Taylor Swift tickets are more appealing than, his wife's jam. That seems to be the amazing jam that she's giving out.
American Riviera Orchard is still not happening. But, I imagine that what is spurring Harry on with this lost cause would be a little voice going like that: William gets armed guards. Why don't we get armed guards? Armed police. We should get armed police. Okay, I'll carry on with the case. That's about it. Let's, we'll leave that hanging in the air. Taylor Swift, your time is up. Now let's talk about Sainsbury's. We thank our technical operator, Dave Rhodes, who's been in Sainsbury's today. I don't know what he was doing there. I think he's shoplifting. And what he didn't manage to steal was one of these. Take a look at this. They're their Christmas hats.
Right. Oh, glorious.
But notice they're not Christmas colours. They are the colours of the rainbow. Yes. They are LGBTQ plus friendly Christmas hats. Wokery in a supermarket, gone mad.
We love it. We should be wearing them.
We love it.
Come on, if he's
We don't love it, Andrew. We despise it. We despise it.
So has he got these wonderful hats? He went into Sainsbury's. Has he got some?
No, Dave didn't buy any. As I say, he doesn't buy when he goes to Sainsbury's, he just nicks stuff. No, but he didn't buy any. But your thoughts, Pete? I mean, why can't we just have normal Christmas hats?
I'm going to say, why does everything have to have a twist on it? Why does everything have to be different? It's Christmas. Christmas is Christmas is Christmas. It's red and white hats. Everybody knows that. Yeah. It just seems to be this stuff is either done because people are desperate for anything different, or it's done for this kind of, they just want to provoke people. They want to be in your face. They want to say, oh, well, you like this and you're wrong to like this and you're really old-fashioned and all the rest of it. Do you know, it is red and white hats. I don't particularly like Christmas. I'm not a big Christmas
You
fan.
don't like Christmas?
No, it is
That's
enforced.
scandalous.
It's enforced fun. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's not. Don't they know? Come on, 40 years since Band Aid. Don't they know it's Christmas?
Well, I
You've
wish I
got to
didn't.
turn around. Is that right?
I wish I didn't know it
Of
was
course, they
Christmas.
don't know it's Christmas. They're Muslims.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's just ridiculous.
Actually, this is the controversy at the moment about that song.
yes.
It's Christmas time. The Band Aid song is the thing about Ethiopians is 64% of the population don't they know it's Christmas? Yes. They knew it was Christmas before the British did.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've had Christians way beyond, way back beyond when we had.
Yeah.
So 64% of the population do know it's Christmas, and the other, 35% or so, they don't care if it's Christmas.
Yeah.
They're Muslims.
Yeah.
And 40 years of celebrating that. It's all
That song is a sort of it's a classic example of white saviorism.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Don't those poor little people know it's Christmas? It's pathetic.
It is pathetic, and I don't know what it is about my jolly disposition that people think I
Yes.
like Christmas, but I don't. I think it is a waste of time. It is boring.
What do you mean waste of time?
We're listening to songs that are 40 years old. The songs are older than me,
No, but
and it is
it
ridiculous.
changed
So when you
the way.
don't say Happy Christmas,
What do you say?
I don't say stop talking to me.
You are the Grinch. You are the
And the
Grinch who
Grinch and
stole
the Scrooge
Christmas.
all put together. I can't stand the thing.
But
It was a waste
we're
of-
going to go to break, but I just want to point out, I talked to Rakib Eason about this the other night, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
The Ethiopians are going... Ethiopia now has got one of the most blossoming economies in
does.
all of Africa, and they're going, we don't want you to re-release this we don't want your money. You're making us look like poverty-stricken, starving
that's a
people.
huge
We
problem.
aren't that anymore.
Yeah.
You're ruining our image. So, but Bob and the gang going, no, you must have our charity. You must.
Yeah.
Well, let us signal our virtue. We're wonderful pop stars. Well, just write them a cheque.
Yeah, write them a cheque, and you know what we could do? We'll take all that money and we'll give it to the pensioners for the winter fuel allowance taken away.
Yeah.
That would be a more use of sending it to
The
Africa.
crazy thing as well, just before the break, is that the money they raise now is peanuts on Spotify, as opposed to when you used to buy a record in the shop, they got proper money. Now on Spotify, millions of things you get tuppence halfpenny.
Yeah. And by the way, they talk about it's Christmas time in Africa.
Yes.
So people said, well, the famine, that biblical famine, was in
Yes.
Ethiopia. Why didn't you say Ethiopia? Midge said, well, it had too many syllables. Dude, just forget it, you lot. Nobody wants your charity. Find someone else to look wonderful about, polish your halos on the telly. Honestly, celebrities, what are we going to do? Thank you to Adrian
Lovely to
and
see you.
Eborn. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
We're going to go to break now, and we'll take your calls after these messages. And by the way, let us know what you think about the LGBTQ rainbow Sainsbury's hat.